why it's so important to be your authentic self in this lifetime as a sensitive person. Hi, my name is Leah Chantel. I give advice about relationships, and my advice all springs from learning to be your authentic self first and really reflecting on your life and understanding what you want to do with your time while you're here on the planet. And I know that sounds like a really big question, but people don't know what being authentic means. And I think what that means is you've taken the time to meditate and reflect on what you want to do with your life. And sometimes that can be a long period of time. If you have the time, it's a fabulous use of your time. But if you don't have that much time, even a little bit of time, reflecting on what you want to do while you're here on the planet, what are the ways you want to contribute? And for some people, that contribution could be very traditional. They could be married and having children and participating in their religion. For others, they might be single, but they're going into their community and they're doing things in a loving manner for people who are in need in the community. And no life is better than another person's, but there is one that is authentic to you where you can contribute, and everything else should organize around your contributions, including your relationships. So I don't believe in putting relationships first before your contribution to society. I actually believe in having a fulfilling life first and then putting your relationships around that, which means you probably have a really good full-time job that you really love and enjoy. I don't mean just something that earns money that looks good on the outside to fill in the gaps. I mean something where you feel really joyful that you're giving to somebody who's in need, or even if you're just providing a service, but you're really proud of the excellence of the service. Maybe you create a really good piece of software for a software company. That in itself is an accomplishment and it's a learning experience, and those things, while they're more corporate, can also provide meaning to people depending on how the service is delivered and how the company conducts their business. If it's done with a lot of integrity, there's nothing wrong with being in a more mainstream corporate business. But sometimes people complain that it's very hollow and they can't really be their authentic selves at work and it's constant politics. So if that's going on, it might not be the ideal workplace for you, but you also don't want to make assumptions about places and assume because it's corporate, it means it's going to be like that. You know, things aren't always as they seem. Like I went to art school, for example, and there was a lot of politics and a lot of mean behavior between artists that I could observe. And I've also worked for a software corporation, and bizarrely, in a lot of ways, they were similar because people were very political, they're very cutthroat to try to get to the top, and it's all very fake at times, both in academia and in software. But I don't mean to criticize my art degree because I really had a lot of great constructive times where I was creating great work and I really loved it and enjoyed it. I wouldn't have done it if I didn't believe in it and didn't enjoy that second major that I did. But there were times it was so interesting that I got judged for working for a corporation, and yet the behavior between students and the competition was very much like a corporation. So you just never know what you're going to find, even when you do follow your passion. Sometimes it's just as competitive as following a more traditional path. And there's no right or wrong about that. You just do what resonates for you, whatever you think your talent is going to contribute in this lifetime to the greatest good, to the greatest number of people. And that also brings you joy. In fact, the joy part is probably more important than the first piece about contributing to others. Your joy really serves the planet because we live on a planet right now where a lot of people are very upset, and your joy actually spreads transformation to other people, and it helps them believe that their dream life is possible as well. So your joy is actually more important than trying to quote quote save the world. If you can help people, that's amazing, and that can provide a lot of meaning and joy if you're looking for meaning and joy in your life. But it's not an obligation that you must do that if it doesn't resonate for you. If you feel like scared of homeless people, for example, or very frustrated around vulnerable groups of people like children or seniors, you don't have to like every single group of people that other people find meaningful. Like a lot of people find being a teacher very meaningful and working with students. To me personally, that's not my greatest meaning and my greatest expression of my work, and I wouldn't really want to be a high school or elementary school teacher. I prefer working with people with disabilities, seniors, homeless, animals. All of those groups appeal to me a lot more than dealing with children. Although for others, children is what authentically calls to them, and that's great. I have no problems with that. It's a little different for each person, but once you find out what that thing is for you, you have to organize your relationships and your life around it. So some people in relationships on dating apps or maybe in your day-to-day life will be needy and demand a lot of attention, but they may not actually give that much in return. And if your energy is being taken away and given to that relationship where you could be contributing to society or creating a great piece of artwork, or you're out in the community helping a homeless person, or you're helping a student that's in need, whoever it is that you're going to contribute to, then that relationship that's sucking the life out of you probably isn't worth it. Really, we have to be discerning about our relationships in our life as sensitive people and only indulge in relationships that really give us joy. And a lot of people might give us flack for that. They might call us avoidant because we're so busy all the time and we're trying to do meaningful things for society. But that's really the biggest juice of life. It's not really in our relationships. People think intimacy is such a big deal. And I'm not saying there's anything right or wrong about it. You should enjoy it on your own terms that you feel comfortable with. But I think people make such a big deal about it, and really the truest joy is actually serving other people and making a meaningful difference in your community, rather than trying to have your own intimate needs met, and just following your desires. Not that it's like totally wrong to do that. I don't mean to like downplay it like that. It's just that there's more to life that I think people are missing out on because they're so busy chasing after what they want in life instead of really reflecting on the bigger picture about what's really important to them.